There's a reason why GLS is such an incredibly hard course to fail. It's because everybody who walks into GLS already possesses the skills to pass. All you need to pass is your own opinion and your own personality. And that's something all of us come in with. I'll show you how I use those two things in Units 1 and 2 to answer the main questions of said units. In Unit 1, the main question was, how do I see the world? How are my views shaped by my experiences, community, and biases? The best examples of me trying to answer this question were in my High Five. I talked about my background, and just as importantly, my Lumina profile. In my Lumina, I got a mix of blue and red. Blue is a more introverted person, and red is a more stubborn person. This created a mix, purple, and they gave me a description of someone who is very discipline driven. I have very strong opinions about the Lumina profile, and personally, I think it's very useless as you don't need a color or a group to put you in because you should already know who you are. But then again, that's probably just my red coming out. An article was written by Peggy Drexler, PhD, and she talked about how children are influenced by their surroundings and not only their parents. A lot of things affect who I am as well. My family, my culture, my parents, my teachers, and even some really, really good movies and games. A great example of something that changed me was my mother. She's an immigrant, and that alone says a lot as she had to work extremely hard to get here. And that changed how I think of things because I work extremely hard, just like her, every day to become something great. It's important to recognize these, I guess you could say, biases, so you can understand your bias and the bias of others. I explored this in my bias stereotypes reflection paragraph closer to the beginning of the year. I talked about the age bias many adults have against teenagers, but I had a silver lining here, right? Because the age bias that many adults have is for a good reason. And I tried my best to understand why. And I realized they have this bias because they want to protect their children and they want children to become good kids because the way they see them, that's not how they want their kids to grow up. That's why it's important to understand your view of the world and the views of others. In Unit 2, the main question was, what do we owe each other? What stuck with me the most was the movie we watched, Pay It Forward. And to summarize the movie, it followed a bunch of different characters who don't seem related, but they actually are, by the Pay It Forward movement, which is you do a good deed for someone, and you tell those three people to do a good deed for someone else, and they tell those three people, and those three people, and those three people, and I'll keep going forever and forever, and eventually the idea is everyone will pay it forward because of the exponential growth. I learned a lot after I watched the movie because I thought about it a lot as well. I asked myself questions, have I paid it forward? Do I owe other people? Or how can I pay it forward? When I was thinking about this, I also thought about the learning we did in empathy. I learned that in empathy is reading other people's emotions and seeing what they want. And in the movie, the main character was a master at this. He was able to read people's emotions very well. For example, his mother loved Mr. Simmons, and he could very well see that his mother did love Mr. Simmons. So he did everything he could to put them together. Lastly, on my own, I explored many opinions of what other people think other people should deserve. Two great examples of this are Bernie Sanders and Steven Crowder. Those are two political people who have completely different views, right? And it's very interesting to see what opinion they have of what people should owe each other, right? They try to answer questions like, do we deserve free healthcare? Do we owe other people? They both disagree on this, but the contrast you see between them is very interesting to see. And based off of all of this, I've been able to answer the main question. To answer the main question, what do we owe each other? This is what I came up with. Everyone deserves something. All it takes is someone to see that. If you deserve it, someone will pay for it eventually. Not everyone will deserve a good thing. A mean person may get insulted, or a nice person might get complimented. The way you treat others affects how they treat you. If you take the time to think about it, GLS is not that bad of a course. I myself got a chance to explore many topics such as learning about myself, my personality, and also learning about service and leadership. Thank you for watching my TED Talk. Catch you later.